So again, you're Darian Broussard.
Yes, ma'am.
And so, Mr. Broussard, you're here in my court in cause number 25, DCCR 1441, and charged with, hold on a second.
It's right now.
You're charged with a third-degree felony offense of evading arrest or detention with the use of a vehicle. And I've given you some time to try to hire a lawyer. Well, hang on, that's not even what my biggest concern is at this point.
Yes, ma'am.
Because you're already on misdemeanor probation. And for some reason, you've been testing positive for THC since last October while you were on that probation. And they let me know that, but I don't know why they haven't filed a motion or done anything about that. So
I paid it off, and that's what the judge almost told me to pay it off, because he was like, I don't know why you're still going to probation.
you're still going to probation because you're still using marijuana while you're on probation and while you have a felony court case pending, right? So I don't know what makes you think that that's okay, because it's not. And the fact that you were on probation and doing that, and now you're still doing it.
I wasn't still doing it. I was telling my probation, I was smoking wax or resin, pure THC, and I was telling him that I was doing it 30 days. It was kind of hard to come out of my system still. And I told him I needed another 30 days. He said, all right, come back May the 7th. Because he was like, it was going out the system, but I don't know.
But you've been doing it the whole time, right?
Yeah, I was doing it the whole time. And then when I got out, I stopped. And it was still in. I got out, I went to jail.
You got out. What'd you go to jail for? This?
Yes, and I got out like 3 days after that.
So you're telling me you haven't used since you've been to jail in this case?
And the only reason it's still in my system because I smoke wax in the bone, like liquid THC.
Okay.
And I explained that to my probation. I explained it to the superintendent. She was like, it'd probably take 120 days or so because it's pure THC.
He's been out since September. You've been out of jail since September?
No, yeah. So, no, I went to jail since I went out of jail since November.
It's April. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to find that you have violated the conditions of your bond.
I didn't violate it.
There's no way it's still in your system if
Hey,
stop talking because you're going to make it worse.
Yes.
Okay. There's no way. I don't care what you're smoking out of it, whatever you're smoking it out of. Hang on. Because if the last time you did that was in September of last year or November of.
No, it was January. That was my last time because I was like.
So you're not, you're not telling me the truth.
Yes, ma'am. I'm saying my last time when I got out of jail was in November. That was the first day I got out November the 1st.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't go report till I think September. September. And I pissed dirty. And then I pissed dirty 3 more times after that. And I told him, I was like, sir, I was smoking hardcore THC. I didn't smoke
none of that would make you test positive today.
I tested positive again.
Why do you think we're having this conversation? Yes, you tested positive.
Keep testing positive.
Well, because you keep using. Come on now. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to make sure that you're not using at least for some amount of time.
I'm not using Miss West.
I'm going to raise your bond for violating your bond conditions. The fact that you've been using while you're on probation and they let you keep going makes no sense to me. Hold on. Makes no sense to me at all. I'm going to raise your bond in your case for violating the condition of your bond. Hold on a second. To $50,000. Condition of that bond, if you make it, is that you will be required to have a drug patch on at all times.
I told him that from the first time. I told him that I said,
listen,
drug patch. I'm serious, Miss West.
Okay, well now you're going to get one. So if a drug patch is what's going to make you stop using, that doesn't make any sense either.
No, I've been stopped. That's what I'm saying.
Okay. I don't believe you. So I'm going to make sure of that because it doesn't make sense what you're telling me on the dates. So again, you have to have a drug patch on within 24 hours of your release if you make that bond.
I'm not.
And so if you don't make the bond, you're going to get a court-appointed attorney. I will consider at some point, and we'll let that attorney know reducing your bond back down after I know you have sat for some amount of time and not used. All right? You can go back with the bailiff. If you'll make a note.
A defendant.
The courtroom was already tense when the defendant stood up and confidently declared that the court had no authority over him. Claiming to be a sovereign citizen, he insisted that the laws being applied did not pertain to him and that the judge had no jurisdiction in this case. At first, it seemed like a familiar script, one that had been seen before in countless viral courtroom encounters. But this time, something felt different. The judge remained calm, composed, and completely unshaken. Instead of reacting emotionally, he allowed the defendant to speak, giving him enough room to fully present his argument. The defendant doubled down, repeating phrases about common law, natural rights, and his refusal to recognize the legal system. "I do not consent to these proceedings," he said firmly, expecting that statement alone to disrupt the process. It didn't. The judge leaned forward slightly and began dismantling the argument piece by piece. He explained clearly that jurisdiction is not based on personal belief or consent, but on established law. The courtroom fell silent as the reality of the situation began to set in. Every claim the defendant made was met with a direct, logical response grounded in legal precedent. Still, the defendant tried to interrupt, attempting to regain control of the narrative. But the judge wasn't having it. "This court does not operate on your personal interpretation of the law," he stated firmly, his tone cutting through the tension like a blade. At that moment, the energy in the room shifted. What had started as a bold and confident challenge quickly unraveled. The defendant's arguments, once delivered with certainty, now sounded repetitive and ineffective. The judge continued, outlining the legal framework that gave the court full authority over the case. He emphasized that refusing to acknowledge jurisdiction does not remove it. The defendant's demeanor began to change. The confidence faded, replaced by visible frustration. Each attempt to push back only made the situation worse. The judge, maintaining control, warned him that continued disruption could result in further consequences. "You are subject to the law, whether you accept it or not," the judge concluded. That line hit hard. The courtroom remained silent as the weight of those words settled in. The defendant had run out of arguments, and the strategy had completely collapsed. What was meant to be a defiant stand against the system had turned into a clear demonstration of its strength. In the end, the judge moved forward with the case, reinforcing that legal authority cannot be dismissed through belief alone. It was a powerful reminder that in a real courtroom, facts and law always prevail over unsupported claims. For viewers, it was both dramatic and enlightening, a moment where confidence met reality, and reality won.